Could Nottingham Forest be about to use a bit of common sense for once? One can dream. Now, before I even do a thing, I am not going to fall for any of this or get too excited, because this, going into next season, I've decided I'm just going to reserve judgment over every single thing. Even players, I'll get a bit excited about if it's like, if we sign, I don't know, Bernardo Silva, because that's going to happen, isn't it? I might get a bit excited about that. Of all the players I could think of, realistic beyond words. I might get a bit excited about that kind of thing, but I'm just going to reserve judgment because look at last season. We all got absolutely pumped, excited. Oh my God, we've signed Luke Freeman. We signed Loic Mbissoe from PSG. We signed Harry Arter, who's just been promoted to the Premier League with Fulham. We finished 17th. But the first part of this video is going to be talking about behind the scenes and a few changes that are strongly linked to potentially be happening by a lot of reliable sources as well. The Athletic, for example, Paul Taylor and George Harvey are two very reliable journalists. And that is the fact that we could be getting a brand new CEO. That's just one person that could be coming in. And that person is Dane Murphy. Who is Dane Murphy, I hear you ask? I don't know either. I've just had to do quite a lot of research to actually understand who he is. But I can tell you he is an American. And he retired in 2015 after being a player majority of the time in the MLS. Played for sides like DC United, VFL, Onsabrook, as well as New York Cosmos. That's where he retired. He then went on to become technical director at Real Salt Lake and DC United, and then on to Barnsley in 2019. That is where he currently is at. And he has done very well at Barnsley. From what we can see, he is a very highly rated, well-trusted person in the modern game. He knows how to run football in this day and age. The reason why he's so highly regarded is because he's very, very good at getting deals done and negotiating. Unlike Ioannis Vestros, who is our current CEO, who has apparently decided to leave. Let's just talk about Vestros for a brief moment. He joined in 2017 when Evangelos Marinakis took over the club and he was appointed as the CEO after he was initially the managing director at Olympiacos, who are our partner club. And since then, all he's done really is not know how to run a football club by signing over 70 players in 4 seasons. That is basically 8 transfer windows. Most of those players didn't even work out. A lot of them didn't even end up playing a single minute of football for us. Taxidis didn't even play 1 game. Players have also ended up coming in and just leaving in January. Rafa Mir, for example, Nicholas Ioannou. But talking about Dane Murphy, on the surface, this looks like a very exciting move for the club because he has run Barnsley incredibly well. He's got some fantastic bargains done over his time there. He of course is one of the main ones that deals with the transfers. And he joined Barnsley after they were promoted from League One. Then they stayed up obviously on the last day by beating Brentford and Forest the week before obviously. And then last season they somehow managed to get the top 6. And I kind of think to myself, well, why would he join Forest when Barnsley finished in the playoffs and we finished 17th? Is this just simply a case of history again, that historically Forest are a bigger club than Barnsley, or what? Is there there must be something going on behind the scenes that must be making him want to join a lower club. Now, of course, like I said, this is not just a one-man hiring. There may very well be a few new names coming in as well. Gary Brazil has signed a brand new contract with Forest. He's one of the longest serving members at the entire club these days. Again, given how unstable the club has been, mainly down to Vestros, it's a pretty big achievement for Brazil to still be here. Now, apparently, according to The Athletic, we have already appointed a man called Chris Brass, who all I know is he was at Wigan previously as, from what they're saying, head of football operations, whatever that means. As well as George Cyrinos. I've said that wrong, okay, let's just accept it and move on. He was the chief analytics expert at Stuttgart, a Bundesliga club, of course. You probably say, based off how things have gone in the past, anything is better than Vestros. So let's just leave it there and see what happens. And that might very well be why we've not signed any players yet. And that's what I'm going to talk about now briefly. Being as we've not signed anyone, we'll go over who's actually left and who's rumoured. So one of the few things we have done in the transfer window so far is announce our retained list of players that are out the door. I can't get my head around why we've let go of Ribeiro and Amiobi. I did a tweet about it at the time and it kind of got a bit of backlash, and in hindsight I understand why, because I said it was the club's fault and the club's badly run. But then again, when you think about it, players' contracts expiring is not the club's fault. That's just what happens in football. So I apologise to anyone that saw that tweet and found it annoying. Now apparently Ribeiro was homesick and he wanted to go back to Portugal. You can understand that. Amiobi, there's no strong rumours about why he actually left. Maybe his contract just expired. That's what happened. Maybe there's nothing more to it. Michael Dawson, after his second spell came to an end, he's left. Sam Bassal's a bit sad. And then Diallo, I mean, he didn't even play a game, did he? Glenn Murray retired, unsurprisingly, and Michael Heffler, I forgot he was even a player for us. And of course, the lone players we had, Cyrus Christie, James Garner, Luke Freeman, Anthony Knockaert, and Filip Kravinovic, they are all out the door, back to their old clubs. The only one that I would want to come back out of all those is obviously James Garner. There's reports that maybe that might happen, but apparently United want to look at him in pre-season before they make any decisions, and I think there's a good chance he'll be loaned to a top flight club because I think he's good enough for it. I think it's worth pointing out as well that players such as Arter, Basharu, Jenkinson and Bong, they've all been told that they can leave the club according to George Harvey on Twitter. It's worth talking about Carvalho. Will he come back to the club? Will he get a chance? Who knows? He got 3 assists, no goals at Almira last season when they also failed at promotion. He's used to that. We're looking at the players that we're linked with coming in. I'm only going to go over a few because we're linked with so many players, and the ones that have actually got half a chance of actually coming in now. We'll start with Emiliano Marcondes. He scored in the playoff final for Brentford where they beat Swansea to get to the Premier League for the first time in their history. However, overall last season he didn't actually do a great deal for them. In his entire time at Brentford, 97 appearances, 7 goals and 13 assists, and that's since 2019. It's not the most outrageous return. He's an attacking midfielder, so maybe he could replace Kravinovic, he could replace Carvalho, and then we have Brennan Johnson. In my opinion, I'd like to see this get done because we could get him for free. Charlie White from Sunderland, he's been also linked with Celtic, and there's apparently a good chance he's going to go there instead of Forest. He's 28, 25 goals, 4 assists last season for Sunderland when they failed to get out the League One again. We're also linked with Jerry Yates, only I highly doubt we're going to get him, quite frankly, because Blackpool has been promoted to the same division as us now. I think Jerry Yates would be a fantastic bit of business because from what I've seen of him, he's just the kind of player we could do with. Really good player to get. However, why would he leave Blackpool when he's just joined the Championship, you know? Now forgive me, I'm probably going to say this guy's name wrong. Ikpenzu from Wickham, another striker, believe it or not. A lot of Championship clubs are interested in this guy. He's a very strong and physical looking player, so maybe that would be a good guy to get in the squad. Now as for players out, we'll briefly mention that Jordan Gabriel is linked with going permanently to Blackpool, also Portsmouth, only I think it'll be a really stupid move because we need to touch upon the quite serious issue that is the squad depth, because we've gone from insane squad depth to quite thin. Maybe not thin, but weak. That's probably a better word really, isn't it? Now talking of Lautaro, like I just mentioned there, he is linked with Stoke apparently, and you can't really blame him for wanting to leave because he hasn't really played, has he, that much. And we have to touch upon this as well. Joe Waugh, linked with Burnley, West Ham. It's worth pointing out that Burnley are also linked with Nathan Collins from Stoke, another centre-back. So Stoke, let him go, please. Thank you. Enough said. But we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you have enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. It'd be massively appreciated if you could do that. Follow my social media as well, and I'll see you very soon. I hope you've enjoyed this general Forest waffle. It's been a while since I've done this. I thought it was about time. The main motivation for this was Dane Murphy being linked with us. But yeah, cheers lads. Thank you.